Around 2,000 years ago, Jesus said, "And as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be also in the days of the Son of Man." In this video, we'll look at two comparisons from the days of Noah to what's going on right now, the heart of the culture of mankind at the time, as well as the genetic manipulation that was going on then and now. In Luke 21:29 through 31, and Jesus also tells us the parable of the fig tree, and in verse 31 he says, "So you also, when you see these things happening, know that the kingdom of God is near." Prophecy is our guideline for understanding the times we're living in, so let's evaluate the days of Noah. The biblical account of Noah begins in Genesis 6, approximately 1600 years since the creation of Adam and Eve. And as the population of the earth increased from Adam and Eve, also wickedness and evil increased alongside of it. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. I'd say it's undeniable that evil is continually increasing in the times we're in. The last days prophecy of 2 Timothy 3 tells us this as well. This may partially be to the fact that we're able to see what is going on around the world every single moment of the day in real time. This also fulfills another prophecy, "But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase." This ability of people running to and fro and knowledge increasing through technology may be one of the leading factors as to why evil is increasing in our time, just as it was in the days of Noah. And as we head towards the end of the month of June, or Pride Month, the book of Proverbs has a lot of wisdom in that area, telling us pride goes before destruction, Proverbs 16:18, and in Proverbs 11:2, when pride comes, then comes disgrace. With the humble is wisdom. In Luke 17 verse 28, Jesus says that likewise as it also was in the days of Lot, referencing the rebellion and pride that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, that would also be a sign of the times. I'd say the culture comparison to the days of Noah and the days of Lot and the times we're living in right now are undeniable. In Genesis 6:9 through 22, we get more of a framework of what was going on in the days of Noah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. It's been theorized in Genesis 6:9 that when it says Noah was perfect in his generations, that his bloodline was pure human and not manipulated by the Nephilim of the time. This makes sense to me as to why some of the Old Testament books have lists of names. I never understood the importance of it, but now looking back, God in his wisdom, it makes sense as to one reason would be that anybody who tried to claim that Jesus or his previous bloodline were linked to the Nephilim can just look at the names and the records and see that they were not, and that they were perfect in their generations, just like Noah. In Genesis 1:26 through 28, God talks about how he created mankind. And God said, "Let us make man in our image and after our likeness." God created Adam in his likeness, and then created all the animals, and Adam named them. But just as in the days of Noah, told to us in verse 12 in Genesis 6, that all flesh had corrupted their ways. This is exactly what we saw in Genesis 6 when the Nephilim fallen angels manipulating the genetics of human beings when they mated with women and created giants. Also in the Book of Giants, the apocryphal book, it tells us that the Nephilim also genetically manipulated animals at the time. Human hybrids and animal hybrids, this was going on because of the fallen angels, the Nephilim that were on the earth, and their corruption of all flesh. And what do we see in the headlines of our days? June 16th, 2023, most advanced synthetic human embryos yet sparked controversy. Two teams of scientists have announced that they have grown embryo-like structures made entirely from human stem cells that are more advanced than any previous efforts. The synthetic embryos developed to a stage equivalent to that of natural embryos about 14 days after fertilization. Both teams allowed their embryo-like structures to self-assemble from human embryonic stem cells, some of which had been converted into cell types resembling the stem cells that from a placenta and the cells that form the yolk sac outside a natural developing embryo. Here's another headline from May 6, 2021. Scientists make embryos that are part human, part monkey. Scientists working in China and the US have successfully grown chimeric embryos that were created by injecting human cells into the embryos of monkeys for a considerable length of time amid ethical concerns. A human-animal chimera is a life form that is part human and part animal. Theoretically, it can develop into an animal with both animal and human cells when implanted into the uterus of an animal, or possibly even a human. Now, these are just the headlines of our day, public knowledge, but imagine what's going on around the world in black sites and beyond top secret facilities where they don't have any regulatory oversight. You can guarantee that they're doing experiments that are outside of the ethical code that scientists within our countries are supposed to follow. There's also the rumor that the military secret advanced technology is truly about 20 years above what we know publicly at our time. So you can just imagine, if this is public knowledge, what is really going on in the secret facilities around the world. Two examples of technology that was created and then later released to the public years down the line is GPS development, which started in 1973 with the first satellite launched in 1978. The US government made it available for civilian use in 1983, but it took a few more years to become developed to be sufficient for that purpose. The second case is in the 1960s when initial development of the internet started. By the early 1980s, it was available to non-military organizations. By the late 1980s, it was in use by universities in various countries. The first commercial internet service providers in the US and Australia emerged in the late 1980s. Those are two examples of technology that took 20 to 30 years to be released to the public since their initial development. We don't know the exact day or hour of Jesus' return, but God did give us warning signs and told us to look for them, just as when you see a fig tree coming in season. In Luke 12:35-37, Jesus also reminds us of this, saying, "Let your waist be girded and your lamps burning, and you yourselves be like men who wait for their master when he will return from the wedding, and when he comes and knocks, they may open to him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the master, when he comes, will find watching. Assuredly I say to you that he will gird himself and have them sit down to eat, and will come and serve them." In my estimation of the comparison, it's pretty clear to see what it was like in the days of Noah and how those days are coming to a fulfillment in the times we're in. Again, we don't know the day or the hour, but it is important for us to watch and look for them, just like we would for the fig tree blooming. And you want to be in right standing with God, following Jesus in the Bible and what it says, and just how it says in Genesis 6:9 that Noah was a just man and that he walked with God. That's how you want to be, so God will create a covenant with you, and you will be on the ark, and God will see you through the times into eternity with him. Let me know in the comments any other comparisons to the days of Noah and the days we're in now. Thanks for watching, and God bless.